Hello friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a petty revenge on a psychotic employee who was disturbing our OP's life. Although the story sounds entertaining, but it's better not to joke with such people, because mostly they have nothing to lose, and their behavior is caused by this. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Fellow employee yells at me for driving too fast while going 7 miles per hour in the parking lot. There's an absolutely crazy woman at work. She's a bit of a hunchback, and I hear that when her rich father died, she ran around the office yelling, "He's dead! He's dead!" because she inherited his cash. But I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt and treat them with respect. That is, until she effed with me. I was driving through the parking lot and drove past her. She was walking while I was going around 7 miles per hour and giving her plenty of room. She starts flailing and yelling at me to slow down, etc., when I was clearly driving completely responsibly. But again, she's back crap. Well, 2 days later, I'm walking through the parking lot and she blows by me way too close and doing about 30 miles per hour. I needed vengeance. She also takes a nap in her front seat, parked in the handicap spot right next to the door, with her head leaning against the window. The first time I saw her, I almost called an ambulance, but this is just her daily routine to take an hour-and-a-half siesta while getting paid way more than I do for far less work. So one day I rode my recently purchased Harley FXDX to work. The previous owner had put a nice fat 2-in-1 high-flow exhaust on it. I had also just retuned my carb to get the deepest, most guttural rumble I could out of the thing. So as I come back from lunch, there she is, napping with her head against the window, sound asleep. As I roll by, I pull the clutch and open the throttle up as wide as it can go. It was deafening. She shoots up and starts flailing around wildly in what I can only describe as a combination between a truffle shuffle and a kid with cerebral palsy trying to crip walk. She looks all around to see where it came from, but all she sees is me, riding perfectly responsibly and quietly, both hands on the handlebars, and a big crap-eaten grin under my helmet. And our second story. No, I'm not someone's child. I actually work here. So this happened roughly 8 or 9 months ago. It's not terribly exciting, but it makes me laugh whenever I think of it. I'm a young, 28-year-old female prosecutor in a mid-sized city. Our office split between 2 buildings. The criminal prosecutors are located inside of the county courthouse, while the civil/appellate prosecutors are located in a building across the street. I'm in the appellate division, so I'm across the street. At the time this happened, I'd been at my job for roughly a year, so I was still a relatively new face. We had some kind of educational meeting. Forget what the topic was, so both sides of our office were there. I attended the meeting with the head of my division, who'd been there for 20 plus years and knows everyone. We got to the meeting, had lunch, all that. Afterwards, everyone was kind of mingling, and this older woman approached me. I didn't know her name, but obviously assumed she worked at the main office since, why else would she be there? Clearly, she didn't come to the same observation as she said, "Oh, I didn't know boss's name had another daughter. It's so nice of you to come visit her at work." I just laughed and politely told her that I actually worked there and had been there for a while. I know I look young and often get mistaken for a student or an intern, but that was the first, but not the last time one of my own coworkers had done so. My boss and I had a good chuckle about the entire thing on the walk back to our building. And our last story. HOA vandalizes father's truck, gets immediate justice. This happened a few years back. Our HOA has always been known to be sneaky and to flat out give false accusations on homeowners, especially in this day with security cameras, and we can pretty easily spot out who the investigators are. Most recently, a homeowner was told she was supposed to get approval before she started re-shingling her roof. The thing is, her roof hasn't been re-shingled in 10 years. And she has no plans to do it. Things like that. Call it a mistake, call it malicious. Well, a few years ago, we had our time to shine. It was a simple morning. I was still temporarily living with my father at the time. Well, one morning we decided to go out to get groceries. back when we found that his pickup truck had been smashed into. Nothing was taken, it was just smashed into. In fact, I still have pictures from that day, just before the cops arrived. Cops arrived, they do some investigating, and found that a rock inside the truck was from a house down the street. Unfortunately, they couldn't get them to admit to the crime, nor could they prove it was even them. Understandable. Criminals will grab things they find, but it was suspicious. The rock, I should say, was kind of a special rock that no one else in the neighborhood had, some round polish type, very unique. After this incident, I installed a security camera on his house. Well, not 2 days later, we got an HOA violation for a vehicle eyesore that needs to be removed. Just 2 days later. I'm confused how such a letter could have been written up so fast, but I started to suspect foul play. One day we were home and had a knock at the door. The HOA actually called a code inspection officer. This week hadn't even been over yet, so the parts to fix the truck weren't even delivered yet. We weren't paying expedited shipping for damages we didn't cause, and the truck was so old, insurance would probably just total it. The truck's sentimental to him, so he wasn't going to get rid of it. Still ran great. Code inspection tells my father that vehicles which do not run need to be removed. They both stop talking and take a second, and both almost say at the same time, "Don't I know you?" Turns out the code inspection officer went to the same church as my father. They knew each other. The officer tells my father that if he can show the truck starts, he's going to write it up as being in code. My father starts the truck just fine as the engine isn't damaged. He tells him to go on with his day and to have a good one. At this point, we're furious because we're starting to suspect the HOA may have did this, as there's no way they could have possibly known so fast. Unfortunately, our turn of the street has no neighbors with security cameras until I installed one on our house, so it caught nothing specific to our incident. Down the street, these people supposedly broke into a car as well, but the camera on their house was unable to see anything. Damn. Here's where the fun begins. Fast forward a couple of months after nothing happened, I decided to install a new dash cam in my car. I found a good one that uses very little power off the battery and can activate if there's any bumps to the car, even if the car is off. Just needs to be wired straight to the battery for this. It's a thinkware. A few days later, we got a violation notice for our mailbox being crooked. Wasn't crooked much, but I do remember it recently having an angle. Odd, I could just fix it, but my car was aiming straight at the mailbox. I'm thinking, no, this couldn't possible. It only records if there's a bump. I take out the memory card, and apparently I either didn't configure it correctly, but it was recording the whole time. It never went into sleep mode. I watched as the investigator walks up to the mailbox and pushes it crooked, then writes down on his tablet his findings and takes a picture for records. I'm appalled at what I see. I have the proof I needed. Now for the sweetest part. They wanted us to come to the board meeting and present what's going on at our address. We haven't told them yet that we had the pictures, but to summarize real fast how our HOA works, the board hires an outside company to do the grunt work. Let's call it Bentree Management. We go to the meeting and sit down. Bentree Management has the one in control of our account, and I swear to you she looked like a Karen. So the name fits for her. As time goes by in the meeting, we get to discuss what's happening at our house. We present the timelines and tell them about the truck being smashed, and just 2 days later we get a letter. We ask what dates the investigator was out for that time. Karen refuses to answer it. She argues ignorantly that we should keep better care of our stuff, as if it was our fault. Then comes the mailbox incident. We tell her that we have reasons to believe that the investigator is the one that's causing the damages to our property and is harassing us. Karen denies this and says that it's impossible and that she knows him personally. "Oh, is that so?" I ask. She says, "Yes. Why?" I then pull out my laptop out of my book bag that I'd been hiding, open it up to the video file already loaded, and show it to the entire board. "Enter Exhibit A," I say out loud and played the video. Karen's face is bright red. She says that it's not her investigator. I then also pulled out the letter about the mailbox, which was complete with date. It matches the cooked-on timestamp on the video. She still tries to claim it's not them. "No, it's a coincidence." "I'm sorry, but you have a vandal, and it's not us." It's not? I let the video play, knowing she's falling into a pit hard right now. As the man walks towards my car, you can plain as day see Entry Management on his shirt. She's no longer red now, she's white as a ghost. The board looks over at her and asks what she has to say about this. Karen is silent and has nothing except a few noises, which I assume was her brain trying to comprehend what just happened. I then proceeded to bring up a previous case, which I happened to remember before we left for the meeting, where we had a grass violation beside our house. Now, this area they were claiming was actually not visible from the sidewalk due to the house's shape. I asked point blank, has at any time your investigators walked on our property, illegal trespassing? Knowing, as per their rules, they aren't allowed to do that. Karen is visibly shaking now and mutters out, "No, of course not," with her head down, unable to maintain eye contact with me. She probably feels that I have more evidence, but unfortunately I didn't. So I ask again. She asks why. Our neighbor, whom are lawyers, literally next door to us where the side of this wall was, stands up and says, "Actually, that's not true. I've witnessed one of your investigators go between our houses and poke around the trash bins." Bingo! I didn't even realize she had this information. I couldn't have asked for better timing. Karen at this point just starts arguing with our neighbors about no proof. The board proceeds to apologize for the incident, and they were going to discuss what's going to happen in the future about this. At that point, the meeting is over. A month passes and we get a letter that a new person will be in charge for Entry Management and new investigators. She was fired that night. Since she was fired, my father tells me we only get the occasional blip of errors, but they correct it immediately and don't bother us really anymore. These HOAs are run by crooks, management companies and law firms that back them up. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.